getting into the presentation here, my name is Carlell and I'm the travel trainer for PARTA. I usually get followed up with the question, what is a travel trainer? What does that mean? Well, I basically train people on how to travel using transit, public transit. So I help people one-on-one sessions where we meet at a central location, hop on the bus and ride as many times as they'd like. I explain things over the phone as well regarding information or resources available, and I also go to resource fairs where there's information that PARTA could be handing out, as well as I do things over the phone. I'm all around just trying to help people understand PARTA and also understand public transit. So I go anywhere in Portage County if needed, and I'm here to help. So that's kind of overall the view of travel training for PARTA. We just want to make sure that everyone understands our public transit and how to utilize its software, how to utilize the route schedules, and basically get you to point A to point B and also to point C. So I want to kind of debunk some myths here that people may have been saying about PARTA and our coverage area and our services. I want to kind of set the line straight and make sure that you understand the hard facts about what we're offering in our services for Portage County. One of the biggest myths is, well, people say PARTA only covers Kent and Ravenna, and that's it. That is not true. PARTA does cover all of Portage County, the entire county. So if you need to get to Aurora Farms, or Streetsboro, or to Hiram, PARTA can get you there. Here's a map of Portage County. It's a rather large county, so to speak, and there's some areas that you can get lost. I admit I've done it before. And there are some more rural areas, but we do go through every single part of Portage County. One thing that I do mention, though, and where things may have gotten misunderstood, is our fixed routes are the central location of Portage County. So the Kent-Ravenna area is where our fixed routes cover, the city area pretty much. We also have a route that goes into Stowe, and we have our Cleveland, and we have our Akron routes. But that's where you're going to see our big buses. They're localized there in the Kent and Ravenna area. We also have a fixed route bus that'll leave from Ravenna and go all the way up to Hiram as well. That's our 70 route. So we have a little bit of range with our fixed routes, but usually they're just in that local Kent and Ravenna area. Now the demand response, what we're going to be talking about next, these are the vehicles that cover the entire Portage County. And they look just like that. The vehicle you see here to the right is called an LTV, a light transit vehicle. They have all the ADA accessibility options on there. There's a lift to the right side of the vehicle. We have wheelchair straps, tie downs, and everything on each and every one of those vehicles. So it gets the nickname door-to-door service. I'm not sure if you've ever heard that before. The reason why we have that nickname, I guess, is because we start at the door of your beginning location and we take you to the door of your ending location. Our drivers, we have a policy where we have to get out of the vehicle and meet you where you're at the door of your starting location. Once we get to your drop-off point, get out of the vehicle and walk you to the door of your ending location. The only way you'll be able to escape a driver from doing that is if you literally run away from them. Our policy is that we want to make sure we get you to your destination very safely. Our hours have been extended very recently. Monday through Friday, you are able to use our door-to-door service from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. And we now have opened up door-to-door service on Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. This was not an option a couple months ago. We did a few changes which you may have heard of, and now we have general public access for door-to-door service on Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. If you need to schedule a ride, you would call our main number. So as you can see here, it's on the bus, it's on all of our schedules, it's on all of our brochures. This is the number that will get you in contact with our scheduling department. These are the people who you're able to book a ride through. If you call any time out of that 8:30 to 4:30 time slot, you're going to get rerouted to our dispatch. They're able to answer some questions, but they are not able to book rides. So if you need to book a ride, you want to call in between that 8:30 to 4:30 p.m. time slot. If you need to book a ride 3 days in advance, that is our typical kind of our policy that we have there. You can try 2 days, you can try the day of or the day before, but more than likely we're not going to have the capability to get you to your appointment at the time needed. So 3 days in advance, we should be able to fit you and slot you right into the time that you need. So for example, if you had an appointment on Thursday, you call in on Monday. And then if you had something on Friday, you call in on Tuesday, and so on from there. Prices for general public, if they want to book a trip, it is $6 per trip. For reduced fare, they are $3 per trip. So a round trip, if your reduced fare is $6, a round trip if your general fare, so general public, is $12. That'd be $12 for a trip there and back. So when you book your trips with PARTA, you want to make sure you book your trip there and then also have a returning trip coming back. Otherwise, you will be left at your location if you don't have that return trip time. One thing I'll also mention very briefly is NET transportation. It stands for non-emergency medical transportation. If you know anyone who has Medicaid, this is through Jobs and Family Services. They offer free transportation to any medical appointment. So doctors, counseling, nurse practitioners, anything like that, NET transportation will take you there for free, but they do require 10 days in advance booking. And this is through any of the counties. So if you need to go to Summit or to Cuyahoga or Trumbull, they can take you there. We're the #1 provider for Portage County, so if you book a trip through NET in Portage County, more than likely you're going to see one of our vehicles right here. But if you need to get to, let's say, the Akron-Suma Hospital or to the Cleveland Clinic, they'll have another transportation agency to get you there. One thing I'll mention too here is that we do have some limitations on our area service. What you'll see here is Monday through Friday. These areas at the bottom, Kent, Ravenna, Streetsboro, Aurora, Manaway, Shalersville, Ritztown, Suffield, Randolph, and Brimfield are all serviced Monday through Friday. And to bring back up that Portage County map here, you can see that's the entire western portion of Portage County. North to south is all Monday through Friday. Once you get over to the eastern half, we've divided it from north to south, so right in the middle there, if you follow that middle line, Mondays and Wednesdays, we service door-to-door, Freedom, Hiram, Nelson, and Wyndham. So if you look down those areas, those would be the days that you would book your trips to those or through those certain areas. Luckily, with those same exact areas as well, we do have a fixed route called the 70, the Wyndham-Garrettsville route, that goes directly through those certain areas. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the southern portion of the eastern side, Charleston, Palmyra, Paris, Atwater, Deerfield, and Edinburgh, those are the 2 days that you would want to book for your door-to-door rides. This is all on our website as well, and also our schedulers will definitely notify you if you call in from any of those areas. One thing that's come about in our system here, a new policy, it's called the Demand Response Exclusionary Zone. It's also known as the Fixed Route Corridor or Fixed Route Only Zone, whichever you prefer to say. Basically what this means is, for those who are perfectly mobile, they have no type of disability or mobility issue. If you're trying to book a trip that is easily accessible to a fixed route and you call for a door-to-door trip, 0.3 miles within a fixed route starting and 0.3 miles to the end destination, you will not be eligible for dollar-ride transportation. You will not be eligible for door-to-door service. So I'll give you a couple scenarios here. Let's just say if I call in, I'm a perfectly mobile person, I have no disabilities or any mobility issues. I call in and I ask PARTA to schedule me a door-to-door trip from downtown Ravenna to the Walmart in Ravenna. PARTA will look up my profile and say, unfortunately, sir, we're not able to take you on our door-to-door service. There's a fixed route that goes directly through those locations you mentioned, and it's only $1 fare compared to the $6 fare you would pay for a certain trip. Now, let me give you another scenario. I'm still the same perfectly mobile person. I have no mobility issues. I call into PARTA. I'd like to pick up a door-to-door bus from downtown Ravenna to Aurora. That's no problem. That is perfectly fine for me because there are no fixed route buses that go through Aurora. Now I'll give you the flip side of that scenario. If I am in a wheelchair or I have a mobility issue and I call on the PARTA and I say, hey, I'd like a ride from downtown Ravenna to the Walmart in Ravenna, they would look me up in my profile, they would see that I am ADA approved in their system, and they would book that trip for me, okay? So it's just kind of a certain area there where we have implemented now. It's only for ADA approved people in our system to take an ADA trip. And of course, ADA stands for the Americans with Disabilities Act. We make sure that area is specifically for them. So you can still use door-to-door service as long as it's not in that fixed route only corridor, unless you are ADA approved in our system. Now moving on to fixed routes. We have about 15 different fixed routes that service the local Portage County area. Again, we have that bus that goes to Akron, the bus that goes to Cleveland, and then we go to Stowe as well, and then we actually pass through Streetsboro. There's a stop right in the middle of Streetsboro there on our way to the highway, which that bus is heading to Cleveland. So if you ever needed that option, that is definitely there. These routes run Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. Actually, sometimes some of our routes are up at about 5:40, so and they go to 11 p.m. And then on Saturdays we have 8 a.m. to 7:30. So we're Monday through Saturday for our fixed route service. Fare for our big buses is just $1 for general fare, and then it's 50 cents for reduced fare. One thing I'll mention is if you needed to look into becoming reduced fare in our system, you would fill out a reduced fare form. To qualify, you have to be 65 or older, you have Medicare, or you have some type of disability, or so on. There's actually a criteria sheet on the back side of our reduced fare form. You fill it out, get it signed by your doctor, turn it into PARTA, and then they will get you approved for reduced fare. Now, if you're 65 and older, you automatically are approved for reduced fare. You just need to provide your identification proving your date of birth. Now, however, for the Akron and the Cleveland Express, everyone has to pay $1 per trip for Akron and $5 per trip for Cleveland. It is on a flat rate system, which means that never has a reduced fare amount tagged onto it. So if you ever need to get to Akron, if you ever need to get to Cleveland, there is no reduced fare. It's just $1 for Akron per trip and $5 for Cleveland. Now, if you ever need to Cleveland, that leaves from the Kent Central Gateway and goes all the way to downtown Cleveland twice a day, Monday through Friday. If you ever need our Akron route, it leaves from downtown Kent, goes to downtown Akron 7 times a day, and these are both Monday through Friday. And then very quickly too, I want to talk about 2 of our transfer points that we have in Portage County. One is the University Hospital in Ravenna, and the other is the Kent Central Gateway right in downtown Kent. Transfer points pretty much allow passengers to continue their route without being charged an additional fare. So let's just say, for example, if you're coming from Hiram and you need to get all the way to Stowe, that's 3 different buses you would have to take, or $3. But if you take advantage of our transfer points, you would take the 70 from Hiram, take it to the University Hospital. Once you get off of that bus, ask the bus driver for a transfer, hand that over to the bus going to Kent, which will be our 35, and you continue your route. You don't have to pay another $1 for that. And then once you get to the Kent Central Gateway off of the 35, ask that bus driver for a transfer, and then you can give that to our 30 driver, which will take you to Stowe. So it only costs you $1 from Hiram all the way to Stowe if you needed to. Now normally that would be a $3 trip, but if you take advantage of our transfer points, it would only cost you $1. So really quickly too, I want to talk about our fare structure here. Some of the things that you may not know. One thing I'll mention is our all-day pass. It is $2. If you need an all-day pass, you get on one of our buses, make sure you let the bus driver know, I would like to purchase an all-day pass, because if you don't and you put your money in, it's just going to take it as one fare. So you have to let the bus driver know so you can press a button, which will allow you to print out an all-day pass. And it's only $2 for that. If you know any youth, those who are 17 years and younger, they can qualify for what we call a youth trip card. It's only $20 for 6 months. So if you know anyone who needs that, that's definitely something that they will want to take advantage of, especially when we get into the local high schools that we go past. Another thing I'll mention here too is our local fares. So if you ever decided to leave Portage County and go to one of our surrounding county transit agencies. Just keep in mind that their fares are different than ours. SARTA is $150 for Stark County. Akron Metro is $125. Cleveland RTA is $250. So if you ever needed to transfer out of this county to another county's transit, keep in mind that you will need a little bit more money for their higher fares. And we're at $1 here in Portage County. Reading schedules. This is a common question I get. Our schedules tend to be confusing for a first reader, and I want to make sure I make sense of our schedules for you. The one tip I can always give you, and you can tell your friends this as well, is that you want to start at the time you can afford to arrive at your certain destination, and then backtrack that line across all the way to the beginning of the timesheet. And that'll help you kind of figure out how to time out your day's trip. And I'll explain what I mean there here in this example. This is our 35 route, and one thing I want to point out, when you open up a route schedule, the map's always going to be on the left-hand side in every single schedule that we have, and on the right-hand side is going to be the timesheet. Now, if it's a bus that runs on a Saturday, there will be a grayed out section towards the bottom of the schedule that will say Saturday on it. And if it's just a Monday through Friday route, you'll see this clear, colorful timesheet for Monday through Friday. So the left-hand side and the right-hand side kind of come together. One thing you'll notice is left-hand side, it has all these numbers on there. So you see there's a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's actually cut out here on the timesheet. At the very top of the timesheet, you'll see those same numbers. So these are just connecting to help you see where at on the map these particular bus stops are. Also, at the very top of the timesheet, you'll also see that we name certain bus stops along the route it goes. These are not all the bus stops along the route. If we were to put all of them on there, it'd actually probably go all the way across our schedules. So these are just kind of the main stops along the way. So it goes past the Kent Central Gateway, C Midway, which is on Kent State campus, Walmart, downtown Ravenna, and to University Hospital. Now, there's a bunch of stops in between there, but these are kind of the ones that help you figure out timing for whatever areas you're in. Now, if you live in between one of these bus stops, you do want to time yourself. So let's say, for example, if you live at Campus Point Apartments, those are along 59, you would want to catch the bus after it's leaving C Midway. So if you needed to get out early in the morning, let's just say 7:30, you need to be to Walmart. You want to catch that 7:18 time that leaves C Midway, heading towards Walmart. And to give you even a better example, if you had a doctor's appointment at 12 o'clock and you need to get to, it's in downtown Ravenna, you can see here the schedule, it runs every 30 minutes. So you see it goes 11:45 and then 12:15. So 12:15 is not going to work. You see it gets there 11:45 right before your 12 o'clock appointment. And then just work your way across the line, and you need to be at the Kent Central Gateway before that bus leaves at 11:15, or you're not going to make it to your appointment. So each and every schedule looks exactly the same. When you open it up, the timesheet's always going to have the same information, and so on. So you kind of want to get yourself familiar with that. One thing I'll also mention too that causes some confusion on the left-hand side is the dog icon. That is our GPS tracking software called SPOT PARTA. Here's an example of a bus stop. Each and every bus stop has a 3-digit identification number, and that's what you're seeing on the left-hand side of the schedule. Those are particular bus stops that we plotted on the map there so you can figure out that stop ID. What you can do with this stop ID is text our tracking software number, which is 224-300-SPOT, which is 7768. Once you text SPOT the identification number, SPOT's going to text you back and say which bus you're looking for. And for this example of a bus stop, there's 6 different buses that go past it. So then you would respond to SPOT and say 51. You'll get a text back saying 12:53. Okay, and you can do this with each and every single bus stop in our fixed route system. So this will come in handy in the wintertime. You don't wait outside for 15-20 minutes, obviously, or maybe you thought you missed the bus. You can easily text our tracking software and it'll tell you if that bus has already passed you or maybe it's just running a little bit late. And here's our tracking software here. You can track and map all of our routes, every single one of them. You also have the ability to look at all of our schedules through the app and on the website. You can text, which I just mentioned there. We have an application for Android and iPhones. And then the website pretty much just reflects whatever the app is. So those are kind of the same option there. And very briefly, I want to show you how to utilize our software. If you have access to internet, this is how the website looks like when you go to spotparta.com. This is also how it looks like when you open up the app. I usually don't like to start on this page just because there's a lot of numbers going on over here and that can cause a little bit of confusion. So I'll go over to the map side, which gives you a blank slate. I like having a blank slate. Now, as you see on the right-hand side, we have all these choices of all of our routes, and you can pick the exact one that you're looking for. So for example, I'll just pick 35 since we were talking about it earlier. I'll close this out and then give it a couple seconds, and then there's our buses. So you see there's one right here and the other one's over here. It's grayed out for a reason. I'll explain why in a little bit. So each one of these dots are bus stops along the way of the route. If I were to click one of these dots, I now have the exact bus stop, which is 59 in Diamond, and I have the next time it's going to be there. So 4 minutes, and after that it's going to be 32 minutes. Now we have two separate buses on this route. The reason why the other one is grayed out is because I chose the option of the bus that needs to go to Penn Central Gateway. So you see how it's bolded over here? If I wanted the bus that goes to University Hospital, I have to click the opposite side, and now that bus right here is fully colored and it's going towards the Penn Central Gateway. So if I click around that same area, now it's telling me 5 minutes and 35 minutes. So this is the bus that's heading to University Hospital. You want to be very careful when you use this option because it is easier just to click on the icon and be done. But if I'm trying to go to University Hospital, it's not going to give me the times of the bus going to University Hospital. It's only giving me the times of the bus that's going to the Penn Central Gateway. So just make sure you click on the right side needed for when you use this option. There's also our Plan a Trip feature. I won't go too far into this. This is just like Google Transit or Google Maps. If you ever need to figure out your certain route, you can click in your departing destination and where you need to go, your leave at time, or you can put your arrival by, and then pick the time that you want to go there. After you select go, it's going to give you a detailed list of options on how you get to that particular destination. So if you ever need to go somewhere using transit, you're not sure where to go, you can obviously call us or call me. But if you want to try it on your own, we have a Plan a Trip function right here on the app and on the website. And then very lastly, here's our main website. It's partaonline.org. Everything you're going to need is probably going to be in the Ride PARTA section. If you just hover over this icon, you have access to our schedules, our maps, campus service, dollar ride transportation. If you know anyone who's blind or deaf and they need our services, we have accessible formats for them. So Braille or TTY number, information on that. Travel training. If you want to buy tickets and passes, you can do that. And we actually mail them to you after you purchase them. And then also keep in mind we have our Twitter feed right here, which if I click on this option, this is something that we recently tweeted. PARTA is going to be closed on Labor Day. So if you need that type of information, service alerts are always going to be right over here. They get tweeted and they also get posted on our Facebook. So that just kind of gives you the immediate information there for that. So that is all I have. One thing I'll mention is if you know anyone who needs this type of information, I have 3 more sessions planned in September. I try to do at least 2 a month. If I can go for 4, I'm going for 4. The Q&A at the Gateway is not a class, but it is just me putting myself out there so that you can ask any questions you need. I'm at the Gateway, which is a central location. So if you know anyone who has problems with our transit, tell them to meet me at the Penn Central Gateway. All these times start at 2 o'clock. So I'll be at the Gateway September 4th at 2, as well as Hiram and Reed. All those are at 2 o'clock. Are there any questions?